What's up, everyone out there in YouTube world, Facebook world, social media, the world? Welcome to another edition of Musings with MGL. I'm your host, as always, MGL. Just doing a quick take here for you today. There's some breaking news going on in the gun community, so I wanted to just bring this to you and crank out a quick little video on this. It's going to be a short one with a hot take. So if you like what you have to see, like, subscribe, click the bell, ding, 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 etc., etc., etc. All right, so here's the headline. Picking it up from NBC News, because again, I don't just pull from right-wing sites or left-wing sites. I like to pull from just all kinds of different sites to show that that's the way that I am. So, top Florida Democrat sues Biden administration over marijuana and guns. Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried's lawsuit targets a federal requirement that prohibits medical marijuana users from purchasing guns. Okay, all of us in the gun community know that you cannot have a medical marijuana card and be a lawful possessor of firearms. It doesn't matter what your state law says. I've done videos on this before. You can go through my history and find them, but it doesn't matter what your state law says about marijuana. The federal government still considers marijuana to be an illegal substance, and in order to pass a background check on the 4473 background check form, you have to mark no on the question that says, are you an unlawful user? If you don't have a card, if you do have a card, then you have to mark yes, which means you can't get a gun. So, a lot of people say that that's unfair. I obviously agree with that. As a libertarian, I think marijuana should basically be legal anyway, but it certainly shouldn't prevent you from possessing a firearm. So, in the state of Florida, we have medical marijuana. We don't have recreational marijuana down here, but we have medical marijuana. Now, the Agriculture Department here in Florida, Department of Agriculture, are the ones who supervise concealed carry firearm laws and the marijuana stuff. So the person who's in charge of that, for those of you who don't live in Florida, is a woman by the name of Nikki Fried. Nikki Fried is the only Democrat basically in the higher levels of office interstate. Everything else that we have, governor, lieutenant governor, et cetera, are all Republicans. The state is pretty far. I think it's going right, pretty good recently, but she's the only one that snuck through in the last election for various reasons, and so she's a top Democrat, and she runs the Department of Agriculture. And it has been a nightmare since she became in charge of that position for anyone who's trying to get a concealed carry permit. So this woman is not pro-Second Amendment. She is extremely anti-Second Amendment. She supports all kinds of anti-Second Amendment laws, such as red flag laws, universal background checks, assault weapons bans, etc., etc. So she is not a pro-Second Amendment person. However, she is currently running for governor. She is running against Ron DeSantis. And so at this point, her and anybody else that's running about the governor are probably going to lose by double digits or more in the upcoming election. So I believe, I'll read through this, but I'll believe that this is strictly a political ploy in order to try and win some votes or confuse some people to try and help her out in her bid. But let's read through this real quick. Florida's lone statewide elected Democrat, Agricultural Commissioner Nikki Fried, plans to sue the Biden administration Wednesday to try and block a federal rule that prohibits medical marijuana users from buying guns or maintaining concealed carry permits. NBC News obtained a draft copy of the lawsuit. The lawsuit targets a federal form that asks whether the gun buyer is an unlawful user of drugs and specifies that marijuana is illegal under federal law. A person allowed by the state to use marijuana must then click yes, which results in denial of the purchase. Lying by checking no runs the risk of a 5-year prison sentence for making a false statement. Fried, whose office oversees concealed carry weapons permits and regulates some aspects of medical marijuana, argues in her lawsuit that the form violates the Second Amendment rights of lawful medical marijuana patients and runs afoul of a congressional budget prohibition on federal agents interfering with state-sanctioned cannabis laws. The suit has ramifications beyond Florida. At least 37 states have legalized medical marijuana and recreational uses legal in 18 states, as well as Guam and Washington, D.C. The lawsuit is timed to land on April 20th, a nod to the slang reference of 420 for marijuana. She must be taking some cues from Elon Musk. The suit, here's the kicker, the suit is laden with political opportunity for Fried, who became the only Democrat elected statewide in 2018 when she ran on an unabashedly pro-cannabis platform. 2 years before, 71% of Florida voters legalized medical marijuana, and polls show a majority favor legalization of recreational use. Florida also has 2.5 million concealed weapons permits holders, according to Fried's office. So, therein lies the rub. This is the most important paragraph, obviously, because it points out the political opportunity for Fried. Note the dates in here. 2 years before she was elected in 2018, medical marijuana was legal in Florida, okay? So, since the time she took office in 2018, it has been illegal for Floridians to have a concealed carry permit and a medical marijuana card. She's been in office now since 2018, so coming up on 4 years. At no time during the previous 3.5 years in office did she file this lawsuit. None. She's filing it now, 6 months before the election in November, when she's running for governor, okay? So it is clear, based on that timing, that she hasn't cared about this issue the entire time she's been in there. Otherwise, she could have filed this lawsuit years ago. Imagine how many concealed carry permits that her and her office have denied in the amount of years that she's been in there because they had medical marijuana cards. And now all of a sudden she thinks those people should have firearms. She didn't think they apparently should have had their firearms in the last 3.5 years. That makes it clear that this is solely for political purposes. So don't be fooled by this. If you're a gun owner in America, you can applaud this concept. Look, I think that she is correct. Her position, I believe, is correct. And I think the lawsuit, I'm in favor of the lawsuit. But don't be fooled by this. Don't be one of these people that says, well, look, we should give credit where credit's due. No. Motives matter, okay? You can support the concept, but don't for 1 second believe that this is anything other than a political ploy. And don't think that she's going to put any effort into really fighting this lawsuit, because as a lawyer, I know that you can file lawsuits, but that doesn't mean you have to fight them. You can slow walk them. You can just kind of go in and ham-fistedly be like, It will take longer than 6 months for this lawsuit to ever see the inside of a courtroom, and she knows this. So she doesn't really have to fight this lawsuit. She can file it and just basically sit back and do nothing about it, and then when she's out there on the campaign trail, say things like, oh, this is great, look what I've done, I am pro-Second Amendment. Don't buy into it, okay? I support this concept. The better way to fix this issue is for the federal government to declassify marijuana off of their schedule and make it basically up to the states, and then they don't have to worry about this issue. Nobody has to file any lawsuits. Just remove it from the Schedule A, and all this issue goes away. People's efforts would be better spent trying to get their congressmen to vote and pass something like that in the federal legislation, and then try and get Sleepy Joe to sign it, and then that will fix that issue. But this is a crap lawsuit, in my opinion, not on its merits, but on the political agenda and the motives behind it. So do not be fooled by this. Research it, look it up, just know what's going on, okay? So just giving you a quick hot take today. Thanks for watching. I'm going to end it here. So as always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself healthy, stay vigilant, and as always, carry on.